Hey guys, we're reacting to this guy, Happy Earth. Make sure to subscribe to him too. So these are the popular ones. So let's see what they have.
Which continent would win if all continents went to war? Firstly, South America might join with North or get invaded due to its lack of large militaries or nuclear power. Similarly, Oceania would succumb to Asia's massive militaries. Africa would be the goal
I have like an idea that Europe is
of both Europe and Asia because of its resources. However, it has over 2 billion people, so it would surely put up a huge fight. If Europe wins the fight, then the war would likely result in a stalemate because all three continents would be immensely strong and have nuclear capabilities. However, if Asia wins, it could encircle and invade Europe while sparing the nuclear-armed countries. After this, there would either be peace due to the Atlantic Ocean or an outright nuclear war which no one would win. Which
Well, Turkey is in NATO and also in Asia. But Turkey is more in NATO because he was in NATO. So I will assume that Turkey should join NATO right now. I know it's in NATO, but it's not really in NATO. Okay, let's go swipe.
Why is Russia so underpopulated compared to other European nations? Firstly, Russia lost around 2.7 million people in World War I, another 7 to 12 million in the Russian Revolution, and an astounding 27 million in World War II. This means that in a world without these casualties, Russia would have approximately 185 million people. Secondly, we think Russia is underpopulated because we look at its entire map. However, when we focus on the European part of Russia, its population seems a lot more normal. You see, the only problem is that the vast cold Siberia has always been difficult to inhabit, which makes the entire country appear underpopulated. Why is Russia so how would the world look like if Russia never existed? Firstly, if Russia disappeared, there would be this massive Russian Ocean which would finally turn Europe into a continent. Many countries would gain coastlines and there would be a lot of new sea routes. For example, the shipping route from the USA to Europe would become a lot simpler. Moreover, historically so much would change. For example, during the Mongol expansion, Mongols would directly invade Europe, and during World War II, Germany would only have to worry about the Britain. So how would the world look like?
How would the world look like?
As Russia was gone, China would invade Mongolia and the rest of Asia because then they will be strong except for India. It will be the race for Asia for China and India.
So how would the world look like if Germany never existed? So geographically, if there was a German Ocean, then Switzerland, Austria, and Czechia would be enjoying coastlines, while Denmark would become an island. Moreover, Europeans would probably build a canal to connect the Baltic to the Mediterranean Sea. Now, historically, we all know a lot would change. No Germany means there would be no World War II. However, World War I would still happen, but with its biggest contender missing, it would be on a much smaller scale. Lastly, say goodbye to BMW, Volkswagen, Mercedes, and so many more German brands.
Yeah, okay.
Did you know Germany once tried to claim Antarctica? So during World War II,
I would be finer, but it was like so much attention and everything. Okay,
Did you know Germany once tried to claim Antarctica? So during World War II, when Germany was going ham on its neighbors, it realized that the Antarctic Treaty had not been signed, so anyone could claim Antarctica. As a result, Germany sent an expedition led by Alfred Richer to claim some of this land. Alfred landed here and claimed this area by throwing the no-no German signs and named it New Swabia. However, after losing, both Germanys dropped their claim, but it was later claimed by Norway, which named it Queen Maud Land. Did you know Germany once...
So what if all German-speaking countries united today? In total, there are 6 countries where German is an official language. However, a union between these nations is impossible as in some of these countries less than 10% of the people actually speak German. Moreover, this unification might create tensions in European geopolitics. For example, Belgium has always been a roadblock to German invasions of France, meaning France would not like Germany annexing Belgium. The Netherlands might perceive this as an aggressive move, while Britain would also not like Germany getting this close to its coastline. However, European countries are a lot friendlier today than they were in the 1900s, meaning this could all work out and Germany could become a superpower because of its increased GDP and what are the biggest allies of the United States? So firstly, France is considered to be the oldest American ally because it supported the United States in its fight against the British Empire for independence. France also gifted the Statue of Liberty, which further strengthened their relations. Secondly, we have Vietnam. Now, despite of their turbulent history due to the Vietnam War, in 2017 Vietnam was ranked as the most American-friendly country. Furthermore, Vietnam needs United States due to its maritime disputes with China. What are the biggest allies of the United States?
Okay.
Why did the Soviet Union collapse? For a total of 69 years, Soviet Union and its allies were the most dominant powers in Europe, and for a long time it was even on par with the US. So why did it collapse? The first reason is that Soviet Union was composed of 15 different republics with extremely different cultures, languages, and history from Russia. This is the reason why they weren't fond of being under the rule of a country that was ruled by Russians. The second reason was its failing economy. During the 1990s, its economy was in really bad shape, so it was not able to feed its people while also spending a huge amount of money on its military. The final nail in the coffin were the reforms made by its last leader, Mikhail Gorbachev. Why did the Soviet
Mm, where was it? China. Like, how can I say this? Kind of like with Kazakhstan wanted to stay with Russia, but then Russia actually did it collapse south. That's now how we get Kazakhstan. Oh, sorry guys.
What if all Muslim countries unite in 2022? First of all, this unification is very unlikely as this new country would be extremely diverse and a lot of these countries already have bad relationships with each other. But what if they still somehow united into a single Islamic state? This new country would be the largest in the world and its land area would be bigger than even the Mongol Empire, but it would still be smaller than the Empire of Great Britain. This unification also has some of the most populated countries like Indonesia and Nigeria, so it would become the largest country by population. Its GDP would be only $7.84 trillion, making it the third largest economy in the world. Its largest city would be Cairo in Egypt, followed by Dhaka in Bangladesh, and third largest would be Karachi in Pakistan. What if all
Mm, well, because of the relationships and I think it would all break down in like some days. Give it like 10 days and it will all fall down. That's what I'm gonna tell you.
Why did Germany? What if all Muslim? Why did Germany lose the World War II? So Germany was almost unstoppable during the start of war. It easily annexed countries like Czechoslovakia, Austria, and Poland. And Germany also defeated France, which was one of the strongest countries. Then why did Germany still lose the war? So firstly, Germany made a huge mistake by invading the Soviet Union. This invasion was a terrible idea because Germany was not ready to face the full military power of Soviet Union. Secondly, Germany made another big mistake by declaring war on the United States. Why did
They were
Germany lose the World War II?
stupid
So
in
Germany
that, bro. Damn.
What if NATO becomes a single country? NATO will have a land area of around 25 million kilometers, which is bigger than 8 Indias or 85 Polands, making it by far the largest country in the world. Even though it would not be able to beat India and China, it would still have a massive population of around 1 billion people, making it the third most populated country. It will also have a massive GDP of $41 trillion, which is 25 times bigger than Russia and almost as big as the rest of the world. With a military budget more than 20 times of Russia and 3.6 million active military personnel, it will be the largest and strongest country in the world. Its largest city would be Istanbul in Turkey, followed by London, and third largest would be New York in United States. What if NATO becomes a single country? NATO will have
Well, they are trying this literally. We should leave. Well, Turkey gets the most. Well, Germany gets the most of a company for us. France, UK, America. I don't know the rest though.
So what if two NATO members went to war? We know that according to NATO's Article 5, if any non-NATO country, for instance let's say Switzerland, were to attack any NATO member, it would be immediately blown off the face of the planet. But what would happen if two NATO countries, for example Turkey and Greece, went to war? Firstly, NATO would invoke Article 4, which means they would attempt to de-escalate the situation through peace negotiations. If this approach doesn't work, it would deploy military troops to stop the fighting. However, if nothing works, the alliance would just suspend all military aid to both parties in order to avoid taking sides and let them resolve the conflict by themselves. So what if two NATO members went to war? We know that.
Did you know Germany is trying to change Europe's borders? So these Eastern European countries get bullied by being called Eastern European. However, according to the German Committee on Geographical Names, Eastern Europe only comprises these three countries. Western Europe includes the UK, Ireland, France, and Benelux nations. Northern Europe includes just the Nordic countries, so sadly no Estonia, while these are the boundaries of Southern Europe. This means all these remaining countries are actually Central European. So do you agree with Germany?
Yep, that is actually true. No, there's only this side what is that, but people call it the other way. But it's actually Central Europe, as you guys could see, because the central of Europe, the oops, my controller. Let's go further. The because the middle from Europe is in Estonia and in Latvia. So that's why. Okay, let's go. Okay, guys, we gotta do 2 more videos from this, and then I will be done. Okay.
Did you know Mongolia was rejected by the Soviet Union? Mongolia formally made several requests to be annexed by the Soviet Union. However, the USSR rejected these offers to include Mongolia within its communist states. The primary reason for this rejection was that Mongolia served as a buffer between China and the Soviet republics to the south. Secondly, the USSR did not want to upset its communist ally China by annexing a country right on its borders. Did you know Mongolia was rejected by the Soviet Union? Mongolia formally made several
Kinda makes sense.
This is why NATO had to apologize to Ukraine. So because of the longevity of the war and pretty much no end in sight, the head of the NATO Secretary General's office suggested that Ukraine should give up the land that is now under Russian control. In return, Ukraine would receive NATO membership, which means Russia would most likely not attack the rest of the country, as it also wouldn't risk a war with the entire alliance. However, Ukrainian leaders got furious at this proposal as they do not want to lose this much land. Stian Jensen, of course, apologized the next day, stating that it should be up to Ukraine to decide its future. This is why NATO had to... Things you might not know about... This is... Did you know Mongolia? This is why NATO had to apologize to Ukraine. So, things you might not know about Asia. Asia is bigger than the entire surface area of Moon or 140 Polands, but it still has less countries than Africa. All of these things were invented or discovered in Asia. It is also the most polluted continent in the world. In fact, 9 out of 10 most polluted countries are located in Asia. If Asia was a single country, it would have the largest GDP, largest military, and by far the largest population in the world. The Asian country of Bhutan is the only carbon-negative country in the world. Asia has both the highest and lowest point on Earth. All top 5 countries with highest IQ are located in Asia. It also has the highest mountain range in the world. Things you might not know about Asia. Asia is...
Actually, they unite. That cannot happen. Because Iran is mad at Saudi Arabia. Morocco is also not happy. So unifying is could not happen. Not even once. Maybe Russia and China and Mongolia and Kazakhstan, but the rest, nah. Maybe also North Korea, but the rest,
bigger than the...
nah. But that's gonna be the end of the video. Thank you for
Most
watching
logical.
and goodbye.